The wizard jigs are pretty much a foundation jig. You can use a table for many different things. You can use the sled for many different things. You can use the carriage all together, independently, and actually it's up to your imagination of what you want to hold with it. So I was looking at YouTube the other day, and I noticed there's a guy that makes the dowels on a bandsaw. It's pretty straightforward, but he had a bunch of clamps and all this stuff that you already have all this stuff. You can actually do something. So I took the carriage and I made a couple of pieces here that you can go up and down with and slide to and fro. And if you think about it and you put it in a track, put your guide runner in there, you can actually slide this here or you can slide it here because that's why we have both tracks. So I'm going to show you how you can use this standard jig system to cut a dowel. The first thing you do is I made this universal, so you drill a hole and you draw a line tangent to that hole because that's where you want a saw cut. We want to be able to cut this just like this and have it as deep as the cut. The blade is going to be that deep. And then once we cut it on the tangent of that circle or the hole, I happen to have, I believe, an oddball size because you can't buy a 15/16 dowel. You can't buy, 1 3/16 dowel. You can buy 1 1/4, but sometimes I'll do small ones out of ebony or cocobolo or something. So we make our own dowels, and this is a real easy way to do it. I made these independent because I wanted these to be able to come apart so I could have a standard item of where I had different holes that I've already figured out and we can actually just change them out. So you pretty much clamp it in. Now you can use any scrap wood as long as it's solid. I kind of squared it in each end off so it's 90 degrees from the table. It makes it a smoother run and made this jig so it makes it real easy to adjust, to cut, and then realign on the other side. And it's the realignment on the other side of the blade that is the key. So in order to make this cut, you want to do it safely. So this guide runner goes in the track. This is loose. So the height is okay because it's right down on the table. So this actually tightens it. So now it slides. Now what we need to do is go side to side and actually align this cut right on that line. So it's actually at the tangent, very edge of that hole. And I can feel it in here. And it's pretty much, needs a little bit this way. If you go too far into the hole, then your dowel will be smaller than what you want. So you have to have it right on the edge. There you go. So you tighten this down. Now we can plunge it in really nice and straight. Now this is a key that as long as your blade is 90 degrees from the table that we talked about earlier, this will be a really nice cut when we put this on the other side. We want to be able to cut this in here that deep. Right about there. So now we have a hole with the slice and the teeth will rest right inside there. All right, we had just finished cutting the slot into this dowel making jig. And so now what we're going to do is put it on the other side. This has a tightening knob, so you put the guide runner in the guide and put your T-bolt in there And look, oh gee, we want to put it on the other side. So you can take this off, or you can actually put it around the other side. You can walk it back to the other side and put it in this way. So now what we want to do is align that groove that you just cut, or that cut, so the blade goes right in there. And now your teeth are just proud of this by maybe, a 1/18. Can you measure that? I don't think so. But just a hair. It works a little better when it happens that way. So you tighten that down. The height is tightened. Now the carriage back here is tightened. Now this actually just works like another set of guide blocks, and your blade doesn't move when you're forcing a piece of wood in here. So decide the size of dowel you want. This happens to be, I think, 15/16. I made this 7/8. Drilled a hole in the exact center. Then I took it to the bandsaw and just made an octagon on this side. Now remember when you were a kid, you wanted to whittle? Well, you get a whittle. So you whittled the end so it's a little smaller than the octagon, so that whittle part can actually fit in that hole. Then what I end up doing is putting what is this? A bolt, which is a lag bolt, on the end. And you put your old trusty screw gun. Everybody's got a screw gun, right? Everybody's got to have one of these. It's a cool toy. So you're going to spin this while the thing turns. So I seat it. There we go. You turn on your bandsaw. And you want it going opposite where the teeth is going. The teeth are going down, you want to spin it clockwise. So you end up putting this in the hole. You can hear it, want to cut it, but now you start spinning it. And you're actually pushing it through as the thing cuts it for you. Easy dowel. You sand this up, and you have the size that you want depending on the size of holes you make.